This is lesson 2 of my Guitar Method Book 1. And in this lesson, we're going to learn both the note A and the half note. This lesson might seem a little intimidating at first, but it really isn't. The first example is very simple. We're just going to play the A note, which is shown in the fretboard diagram. It's the very first diagram on the page. And this note is located here. And you play the A with the second finger. As opposed to the note that we learned in the previous lesson, lesson 1, the open G. So, this first example, I would like you to count out loud 1, 2, 3, 4 for each measure, because it's in 4/4 time. And I'd like you to use the I and the M finger, which we previously learned in the first lesson. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it was quite simple. And I'd like you to practice that until it becomes second nature. So I know that it's the first time that we're actually using the left hand, but once you practice pressing down, you don't even have to really press. You just use the weight of the left hand, the weight of the arm, and the arm kind of pushes the string down and you don't have to use any effort. And you need to have your arm hang, the elbow, just let the elbow hang there. So nothing like this. You often see students doing this, or, just unnecessary movement. And also, the thumb should not be over the fretlet, over the fretboard like this. This is perhaps something they do in a country guitar or electric guitar, but they have smaller necks on their guitars, and if you can actually see, the thumb should be placed in the middle. And often what I do with my students is I place a sticker, maybe a small circular sticker in the back in the middle, so it just reminds the student of where to place the thumb. And you do this all the time in classical guitar. And often you'll move the thumb to the bottom, perhaps, if it's, you're playing something, but we don't need to get into that. So, anyways, now that we've covered where the note A is, we're going to introduce a new rhythmic value. And this is the half note. Previously, we learned what the quarter note is. It's the quarter note. It's colored in. It's just black. But now we learn the half note, which is a circle, and it's white in the middle, and This is really the first lesson that actually sounds something close, like something close to a melody, because we're now using 2 pitches instead of just 1. So it might seem a little bit complicated at first, but if you give it some time, these 2 concepts, the new note and the new rhythmical value, it's not as difficult as you think it is. So here we go. This is lesson 2B. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is 8 bars, or 8 measures, and I'd like you to count out loud, because the half note is worth 2 beats, and you can see that in the in measure 2. And the numbers are written below the half notes. You can see this if you print out my Guitar Method Book 1, which is available on my website. You'll see this. So I'd like you to practice that until it's just, you don't have to think about it. And now I would like to move on to lesson 2C. Now this lesson incorporates three things that we've just learned. We're going to be using not I and M, we're going to be using M and A. That's your middle finger and your annular finger. So, I'd like you to count out loud while you're playing this, because we're still not 100% certain of the rhythmical value of the notes. And it's just good training in any case. So, here we go. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's not as difficult as it looked. And should you play these examples in rest stroke or free stroke? Well, that's really up to you. But I would recommend practicing it in both ways, because this is the technique of the classical guitar. Sometimes we use free stroke, sometimes we use rest stroke, but this is a more advanced topic, which we'll cover later. Now I'd like to move on to the last example in this lesson. This is lesson 2D, and it uses only half notes. Now counting out loud for this one is just good practice. And you might actually want to start with this one. If you're very intimidated by the half note, you might just want to start with this, because it's all half notes and you don't really have to think about switching between quarter notes and half notes. And this is I recommend for this one just A and M, the A and M fingers, A, M, but you can use any fingers you like. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'd like you to think about this lesson and try to absorb everything in this lesson before you move on to the next lesson. It's very important because this book moves quite quickly. So if you miss any little thing in any of the lessons, it'll get more and more difficult. So that's the end of the lesson. I hope you enjoyed this lesson.